Welcome to the U World Order Showcase Program, the platform dedicated to highlighting visionary entrepreneurs and coaches who are shaping the U World economy. Each week, we're celebrating the power of the individual and coming together to uplift and empower one another to reach new heights of growth and prosperity as we showcase a coach, company, or entrepreneur stepping out to be the change they want to see in the world. With our collective efforts, we're creating a world where every person has the tools to realize their full potential and thrive like never before. Join us today as we chat with this week's guest to learn how they got started, what they're doing, and how they're making a difference in shaping the U World Order.
Hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase Program. Today, we're going to be speaking with Liz O'Hara of the nestledsoul.com. Liz has helped hundreds of people with their physical and emotional pain. And now, as an artist turned energy healer toward energy healing artist, Liz helps people who are in the process of awakening get where they want to go even faster. And it's because she's discovered the power of frequency healing portals, art pieces that help her clients start attuning to their higher self and receive divine support 24/7. With that, let's welcome Liz to the show. Hey, Liz, welcome to the U World Order Showcase Program. Liz is coming to us from her bus/camper because she's traveling with her family of 6. She's got 4 kids and a husband, and they're traveling around the country trying to see the world. And she's, go ahead and tell us what you are.
Oh, I'm a certified energy healing practitioner. Turned artist, turned energy healing practitioner artist. And what I do now is I create frequency portals for people who are awakening and looking to shift even more quickly.
That is so exciting. I've seen some of your work. It's pretty amazing. So how did you kind of get into all of this? Tell us about your trip first, because I think that's super cool. So many people are like just hitting the road and trying to live and work because we can work from home. So your home can be on the wheels. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, exactly. So we decided my oldest son is turning 16 and my youngest now, when we left, she was 6 months old. She's 10 months old now. And we decided that if we didn't do this now, we wouldn't have everybody with us. So that's why we took the plunge and we headed out. Our first stop was a retreat in Sedona that I was signed up to attend in January. And now we're working our way up to Mount Shasta for May. So we sort of have these little, date markers along the way. And other than that, there's so much to see, and it's just so different to experience the country, this way. There are just subtleties that I don't think we would have even been aware of if we had taken this journey in another form.
And it is so exciting to get to see the country and live as you're going through it. It's different if you're going to visit somebody and you just get to see all the touristy stuff, rather than living your life as you're traveling. It's so exciting.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's been an adventure in many senses of the word, but I
know today has been a challenge for you.
Yeah, and we actually adopted a puppy along the way as well. So that's another little bit of our adventure.
Very cool. And every time you see him, once you get home, do you have like a set time that you're going to be traveling, or do you have a home still?
So we are we had originally said we were going to do 6 months, but we don't have a particular deadline. So it's kind of nice because it lets us stay in places a little bit longer. You know, and then also know that there may be some places where you have to, the weather has been a little different this year than what we had anticipated. So there's a lot of sort of going with the flow along the way. But we've found some really nice spots and met some really nice people. And, you know, so we're gonna sort of, you know, say, okay, well, if it's not 6 months, it might be 7 or 8 months. We'll just have to, you know, go with it. So we have different various education models, ranging from virtual school to homeschool and so on. So
That's really interesting. You can never replace this kind of learning with book learning or being in a classroom. I've personally lived around the world, and had the ability to go and travel to different places that most people never see. Like, you know, the monkeys, the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil monkeys.
yeah.
They're actually a carving on a temple in Japan. And I've seen
Wow.
them in real life. Most people never see stuff like that. They see them in books, but even in our country, most people don't see the little things that you miss if you don't A, live there, or B, visit long enough to actually see the things that are only for like the people that live there.
Exactly. Like we went to, you know, a festival that was a local, you know, tradition, right? And it was really cool to, like, you know, to do that. It's like as if it was our hometown, but it was somebody else's hometown. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but we've met some really cool people too, you know, doing it this way. So there's a different energy to meeting people when you're sort of, you know, hearing each other's stories and where they've been and where they come from and where they're headed and so on. So
it's connections. And how do you feel this works in with what you're doing? And like, how did you get started doing what you're doing?
oh
Because
my
it's really
gosh,
fascinating.
that's such a good question because for instance, we were along the Colorado River until a few days ago, and there were certain people I reached out to and said, the energy here is something really special. You know, we had mountain energy, water energy, and it was really, you know, there were people who responded to that because, well, first of all, I responded to that energy so well, and I wanted to share that with, you know, with people. But it does make a difference. I almost, like, I can even look at them sometimes and be like, oh, okay, I was here when I made this one, and these I made when I was in this place. And I'm excited actually to be heading, you know, north back into the trees and see what that does, you know.
You'll see some snow energy because we just can't let go of it. It's been nice for the last couple of days. We've actually had sun. It's been like, oh, that's spring.
Yeah. So, can we pause for a second?
So Liz was dealing with a fly, and she was afraid that if she expressed her irritation with this fly, it was going to change the energy. But I'm telling you, it's just the energy that it is. And let us know how you're feeling about it, because
yeah, so here's the thing. So we had this private conversation where I was like, okay, I just need to know what your intention is. If it's a podcast, I'll just let the fly go, but I don't want to be worried about the fly being on the camera. So, and then I said, there's something about this that I just need to shift the energy around, because I feel like there's some resistance going on into telling my story right now. And so Jill watched me sort of do that, right? And so we'll see how effective it was. And I guess we can report back at the end if it worked. I don't know.
my suggestion was just to tell it to leave.
I use a lot of words to say things sometimes.
Perfectly fine. So how do you get the inspiration for these art pieces that you do that are about portals, are they about portals? I guess I should ask you that first.
Okay, so I actually mentioned that I went to this retreat in January. Did I
Mhm,
mention that? Yeah.
mhm,
And so this is fairly new for me. Um, but the thing about being fairly new is like things shift so quickly sometimes that some things that could have taken 10 years, um, you know, may, you know, how do I want to say this? Like there are other shifts that are like almost instantaneous. And there's really almost no difference, I guess you could say, right? Like once you're there, you're there. And so after I went to this retreat, it was almost like overnight that this piece of me, because what I used to say is I used to be an artist because I was, right?
mhm,
I was an art teacher for a long time. I have 2 master's degrees in art from my what I call my previous life.
mhm,
Um, and and then, you know, I started doing other things. I have 4 kids and I, you know, at some point transitioned to helping other people um, enter into their artist selves. And then I stopped making things. And at this retreat, I just felt this part of me break back open. And it's like, I want to make things. And not only that, but when I do energy healings, I use my hands. Like I can almost like sculpt the energy.
mhm,
And so I use this word portal, okay, because this was part of my discovery about opening space, right?
mhm,
Um, and the way I like to think about it is so like we're all pretty familiar with Reiki, right?
mhm,
And so when a Reiki practitioner, you know, or anybody who does energy healing is moving energy with their hands, they're moving it typically within the person's field, right? Like they
mhm,
can feel it shifting, they're channeling something, the receiver can feel it shifting. And so what I do now with these portals is I shift the energy outside of the person's field and it creates this opening and then this flow occurs. And then by recording it, I set the intention that it remains open until whatever that intention is has resolved for that person. And I've gotten some pretty good feedback about how that occurs for people. In fact, I had one client who messaged me and said, I can still feel something, but I don't feel it the same way anymore. And I said, that's because it resolved. So he was ready for another one. So he ordered another one because that's the goal, right? Is to keep shifting. So like I call them frequency healing portals. Like his frequency had shifted enough that now it's like, okay, so what's next? And that's what's really exciting to me. It's that what's next part that's like really exciting for me too, you know? So,
I have to tell you that 2 things. One is that you're the 3rd person that I've talked to who's talked about things happening quickly. Of the
mm,
4 interviews that I've done so far, you are the 3rd person who's talked about an immediate shift.
mhm,
And I think that the way the world is right now, it has shifted already.
mm,
People are just starting to realize that what used to take long periods of time, like we'll do school, for instance. We stick our kids in school when they're 5 or 6, and then we expect them to stay in school until they're, 18. That model doesn't work anymore.
mhm,
Information is changing so quickly. Energy is moving so much faster than it did.
mhm,
I don't know why, but it just is. And things things that used to like get spread out over great periods of time have been just like compressed happening quickly. Like, I'm sure if you talk to your 16-year-old, the information that person has, I don't know if it's a son or a daughter,
A son.
your son has,
Yeah, it's
he
boy, girl, boy, girl.
he knows things that when you were his age, you had no clue about. And his
Mhm.
capacity for changing quickly is much greater than somebody who's older, like your parents or your grandparents. They don't want to shift that quickly. They would think that if you're going to change, it's going to take you years and years and years to change.
Mhm.
But it's not happening that way anymore.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to mention was that the image that you put up on Facebook the other day, if you called it a portal or something, and you were asking people
Yeah.
to name it for you, that image, I I I called it rebirth in my head. That's what came to me.
Mm.
But that image has stayed with me, and it does have an effect on me,
Yeah, that's amazing.
even though it was just something that I caught in passing
Mhm.
on your Facebook page.
Yeah.
So
Thank
just a
you for
little bit of
sharing that. Yeah,
feedback for you.
thank you.
So who do you help mostly? Who are your people?
So I help people who are awakened or awakening, and they're looking to get where they're trying to go faster.
Mhm.
And it's that thing that you were just talking about, right? How, there are many paths to get to where we're going. And, it's not that there aren't learning lessons along the way. And this trip is a perfect example of that I'm taking right now, right? That are valuable. Um, but it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be things to overcome to get to the other side, that there are other ways to get there that are more gentle, that, what I'm channeling in these portals is a divine energy, a supportive energy. I would even say angels connecting with our, um, our intuition and what our sort of soul path has planned for us. um, People who are calling for that or feeling that, people like you, I would say, even, not even, but you know what I mean, people like you, um, who um, who are looking for that, longing for that, feeling that for themselves,
Mhm.
like that. I feel like I had that experience, in my own way, and I have this ability to help other people, um, you know, like I said, get there quickly. So,
Right. It's like there was this there is this book. It's called A Wrinkle in Time. I don't know
mm,
if you've ever read it.
I remember it from when I was a kid. Yeah.
Great book. I read it recently because I had younger kids when I was older, so I needed to read it again. So I read it to
Mm,
them. And they talk about wrinkling time. You know,
mhm,
time is a linear, but you can shorten it by just like
mhm.
dragging the pieces together. So there's the loop down there that you don't have to go
Yeah.
through the long way. So it kind of like reminds me of what it is that you are doing.
Mm. I
You're kind of
actually did
wrinkling
make a
time.
portal for myself like that. That was the image I got for it before. It's not the image that came out, but it was the um part of what came to me to create it. It's called Timeline, actually.
Ah, isn't
Yeah,
that interesting?
yeah. And I wanted to say one other thing, if you don't mind, about the quickly thing, um, because I really do appreciate you bringing that up, and I do really want to say, like, we didn't discuss this prior, but this is a really big deal for me. Um, so, um, so I was really not well. But can I just share a story? Because I feel like now would be
Absolutely.
a good time to share this story. So a while back I took a job, okay, and I said to myself, um, I will stay in this job for 3 years, but I know that there's something else I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm going to take this job and I'm going to start working towards something else. Then I went back a 4th year. And when I went back that 4th year, I got so sick. Like my knees were so inflamed that I couldn't walk. I was just sick all the time. I missed probably almost a third of the days I was supposed to work. I was just really like, it was pretty bad, you know?
Mhm.
And then I finally like decide like, and the thing was I would get better. Like I would try a treatment, I'd go to a doctor or a holistic path or whatever, I would get better. And then I would get sick again. And that was probably the most dejecting part for me because you feel like, okay, and then you find yourself sick again. And this was over, you know, a period of probably 8 or 9 months. And then I decided, listen, I need to start doing something differently. And I had already, you know, taken like the Reiki, like I got into my first attunement to Reiki, and I had some dabbling here and there. I decided, you know, for some reason, I said, I'm going to become a Reiki master. I'm going to start figuring out how to heal myself. And I'm going to start, you know, when I'm better, I'm going to start working part-time doing that. You know, I'm going to assume that I'm better, but whatever, however that unfolds. And I ended up signing up for this package of all of these energy healing modalities, you know, and I just started collecting them. I did become a Reiki master, but I just started collecting all of these different techniques like in very quickly, like, you know,
Mhm.
just one right after the other. And from when I started, within 6 months, not only was I better, but I was pregnant at 45. Like
I
my
had my
body
last
just
child when I
healed.
was 44. You're going to be 63, sitting there with having kids in the house.
But I didn't think my body could handle anything. And all of a sudden, here I am, you know, like that's how fast it was.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's really, there's really something to it because, okay, I don't want to get too deep into like my head here with my philosophies or whatever, but if
Go
you can
for
think
it.
of like wind chimes, right? You've got this set of
Mhm.
wind chimes, okay?
Mhm.
And when you strike one wind chime, like it's pretty much impossible for the others to stay stagnant, right? So like we know that when we're physically feeling unwell, like it affects our emotions, and when we have you know, emotional turmoil, it affects us physically. So when we
Mhm.
work through the energetic body, like our physical body and our emotional body, like they can't stay stagnant. I mean, that's what makes me so excited about all of these sort of ways of approaching energy healing, because like it's really I mean, it's amazing what we can do with energy. It really
Mhm.
is, you know, and that divine support. I mean, that it flows, you know, it's just, we just need to sort of open our hearts and our eyes and allow it in. So,
It's everywhere.
yeah.
The divine is everywhere and in
Yeah.
everything. And people have different names for it, but
Hmm.
ultimately it is the flow of the universe.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is all divine. It's just like whether you're going to lean in or lean out, work against it or work with it. The yin
That's
and the
it.
yang of things.
And I've done it both ways.
It's so much easier when you just like let it flow. You don't
Yeah.
try to like
Yeah.
force it to be
Yeah.
something that it's not, and just appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
It might not be the thing that you were expecting it to be. It might not go the way you were expecting it to go, but the process, you can be grateful for the process and the
Exactly.
experience that you have along the way.
Yeah. And we don't have to do it perfectly all the time, you know,
Heck no.
because we're not here for that. I mean, when I work with clients like that, I almost feel like this message is for me just as much as it is for them, right?
Mhm.
Like we are here meant to be human, right? We're meant to have, you know,
Human
things.
beings.
yeah, like we're meant to have more than just one emotion of everything being great, right? Like my cat passed a couple weeks ago, you know, and I had real sadness. I even had some regret for time that I spent doing other things, in moments that I kind of recalled and so on. She was traveling with us, as a matter of fact. And I thought to myself, like, I'm meant to feel sad. I'm meant to feel this loss. It would be really strange if I had a different sort of like, um, expectation of that moment than those deep feelings,
I've lost a lot of animals in my life, and the thing that I feel when they pass, I do feel sadness, but I also feel like they're just on the other side. I feel this with
Yeah.
people too when they pass.
Yeah.
It's not like they've gone somewhere else. They're still
Yeah.
very close for a long time. They may
Yeah.
go somewhere else,
Yeah.
but you can still feel them.
No, that's definitely true.
And
Yeah.
I think in
She was a
some
real gift to our family, and I do feel like she is still nearby for sure.
we lost a cat recently too, a kitten. I'm not
Oh.
sure why he died, but I think he might have gotten into some rat poison. But we have two other cats, and one of the cats um really disliked the kitten a lot.
Mm,
She
mm,
would go out of her way to like, I don't want to be around you, don't play with me, don't anything. So he used to come and sleep in our bedroom. And the other cat that didn't like him, her name's Alex. So once he died, Alex wouldn't come in the bedroom. She used to sleep with me, but after he died, she was sure
mm.
he was still in there and he was going to get her, because she would come in and she would look around and she was like, it was just acting really bizarre.
Yeah.
Jump on the bed, jump off the bed, and run out the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
even they sense that the
Oh yeah.
other spirit is still there
Oh
for a
yeah.
while.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So what do you want to leave these listeners with? What's the main message that you'd like for them to know about you and what you do and how you're
Hmm.
contributing to the you world economy? Smaller.
Um, that's a really good question. I um I guess I sort of touched on this already. Like,
Mhm.
I love helping people along the way on their journey, meeting them wherever they are. Um, and I actually I think I want to talk about higher self.
Okay,
Um, because this is back to my portals for a second, if you don't mind. But I
absolutely.
I have had this experience, and a number of people have gone back to me and said, "Who's that figure in the background?" So when I make the portals, what I actually do is, okay, I don't know if people will see me or we're doing a podcast, but just for you, Jill, I'm gonna just show you how like I use my hands to like move energy. Okay, so I'm just moving some energy now with my hands. I don't know
Kind
if
of
you
like
can feel
Qigong.
that. Yeah. And then let's see. Let's open a portal to exposure so that more people hear your message and our collective message. Can we do that now?
Yeah, let's do that now.
Okay, so I'm just gonna like pull the energy, and then I'm gonna connect it up. I'm just gonna close my eyes for a minute and just do what I'm guided to do here, opening that space.
She's working her hands. It's like a little dance with her fingers.
Yeah, and so what I do is I actually put lights on my hands. And so I usually do this around twilight, either morning or evening.
Mhm.
Sometimes a little later in the evening, depending sort of when I'm guided to do that. And so And so what I'm doing is I open the shutter and I record what's happening with the motion of my hands. And so that's the image that you saw that I posted on Facebook was a record of the opening of space that I was actually channeling and making in space, right?
Are they photographs?
So they're photographs, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they're
that
photographs. I might like adjust the what do you want to say? Like, I don't add lines or anything like that. I might, just adjust a contrast here or there, but I don't add any lines or any other images or draw on them or erase anything. It's what is happening in my movements that's recorded there. And there are sometimes surprising sort of areas that show up. I'm like, I don't feel like I moved that way, but it's how it presents, right?
fascinating.
Yeah, thank you. So, and it's exciting to me every time too. Like every once in a while I see one and I'm like, wow. But I make them for people, right? Like I do
Mhm.
custom ones. So like if you had certain intentions or certain areas that you wanted to see an expansion, or even things that were where you felt stuck and you needed healing, I set intentions around that. And so I've had a few people, actually quite a few people, say to me, like, who's that figure in the background? Some of them say, it feels like me or an aspect of me. And so what I think is happening is I'm actually like I'm connecting with them energetically. And I've seen some of them, and I did 2 in one day, and one was for this woman I know well, and one was for a man. And if you looked at those 2 images side by side, like my figure looks really different in each of them. And she said,
Mhm.
that looks like me, And so I think there's an aspect of higher self that comes through in that image. And I can sometimes almost even feel the higher self coming. I say down. It's not really down, but that's sort of the construct that we have, you know what I mean? And so what I want, actually, the reason I'm saying this all is because I'm actually doing a little workshop on Sunday called
Mhm.
Hello Higher Self, so that we can sort of come up with ways, strategies, and I can share some of the experiences that I've had that might help people connect more deeply with their higher self, or call her or him closer. So that, that story I told earlier, and I have some others that I don't need to share them all, but that of like not listening to my higher self, not listening to my soul path is how I got sick, right? And so we have smaller versions of that, on a, I don't want to say day-to-day basis, but in our everyday life, right? And then we have
Mhm.
these big moments of that. And I really feel that the more we listen to ourselves, whatever that means, the 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 more quickly we shift, and the more easily we move through life. I don't know how else to say that. And so that's why I want to do this workshop. And I just thought I would share those aspects of higher self, because that's only one term for it. I'm sure you have other guests who use other terms for that. But when we're talking about that soul piece, that energetic body of ours, I feel like a lot of us just crave more of that, right?
It's just been so fascinating, Liz. I have to tell you, it just like kind of opens my mind to all of the potential.
Mm.
This workshop you're doing, it's going to be on Facebook,
Oh,
Zoom.
it's going to be on, it's posted, it's on Zoom, and it is on my Facebook page. So I think that you were
Will it
going to,
be recorded so that people later can come back and watch it? Will
so
there
it
be a
will be,
link?
so it will be recorded, but For people who it's at 2:00 Pacific time on Sunday. And so if people are available to come in person, I'm offering a pretty good discount, like a 60% discount on the pre-made portal. So like the one you referenced is one that was made with sort of a universal intention that can help, many people at once. So those who come in person, if they would like to purchase one, they would get that great discount. And then also one attendee will receive a custom portal image. So that's a session, and then I'll send a digital image of the frequency healing portal that I make specifically for that one person. So there's some benefit to coming if you can on Sunday. But yes, it will be available afterwards as well.
People will listen to this later on once that date is passed. Is there a way for them to get in contact with you about having these portals? What would you call them?
Frequency healing portals.
Frequency healing portals.
Yes.
Created for them. Personally, do you have a consultation that you give people?
I do. And so there's a website I think you posted as well. It's the nestledsoul.com /vibrations and light. And on that page, there's a link that says free discovery call. And that will take you to my booking page where we can set up a consultation. For those people listening here with you, that consultation will be a free consultation. So that's a great savings as well. And then if they choose to purchase a portal, we can take it from there. But either way, I would be diving in with them to see some strategies that they might use for themselves, to see where their blocks might be and what might help them, move to the next step. So thank you for asking that.
That's perfect. And we'll put the links below. So they'll be in the description area. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us, Liz. This has been so fascinating. And I really hope your adventure continues to go great.
Thank you having me. The fly is gone.
That's great. Great news.
And I really appreciate your time, Jill. I really enjoyed speaking with you. And you had some really powerful stories and powerful insights to share as well. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the You World Order Showcase program. We hope today's episode has inspired you to consider how you can leverage your unique skills and talents to be the change you want to see in the world. If you're ready to take the next step and turn your passion into a 5-figure part-time business, we invite you to schedule a private consult at heartlifecoach.com. During our Passion to Profit Breakthrough session, we'll work together to identify your strengths, clarify your vision, and develop a tailored plan for achieving your goals. Don't settle for mediocrity or let fear hold you back from pursuing your dreams. With the right guidance and support, you can build a thriving business that brings you joy, financial freedom, and the opportunity to make a positive impact in the world. Head over to heartlifecoach.com today to schedule your Passion to Profit Breakthrough session and take the first step towards creating the life you've always wanted. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the You World Order Showcase program.